Club Dread is a comedic horror film that tries to be scary and funny at the same time. The basic plot of the film is that several staff members working at Pleasure Island, a tropical resort where people go to listen to music, do drugs, party, and have sex, start getting brutally murdered by a mysterious masked man. So they must either catch the killer or find a way to hide the murders from the guests, seeing as there's no way to evacuate the island because the killer's stolen all the boats and there are no working telephones. So it's a pretty basic horror movie plot, I guess. Pleasure Island is run by a musician named Coconut Pete, played by Bill Paxton. The character is a parody of Jimmy Buffett, both in his manner and in the music he writes. For example, his well-known song is called Pina Coladaburg, a parody of the Jimmy Buffett song Margaritaville. The film starts off with three people going into the woods to make out, but when they find an abandoned mausoleum to do this, they are chased away and brutally murdered. So right away we get a mixture of cheesy B-rate horror mixed in with extremely lowbrow humor. As the movie goes on, the killer starts slashing off more and more staff members. When one of the staff members, a former federal agent played by MC Gainey, who had caught several serial killers before, goes after the guy, he gets his throat cut, and it's brutal. In the end, they do catch the killer, but I don't want to spoil any more for people that are planning to see the movie. As for the humor, a lot of it is just stupid and pretty disgusting. For example, there's a running joke about a scary story where a guy went into the forest and he cut his penis off and is now running around in the jungle. There were a lot more disgusting and just pretty bad jokes than the rest of the movie, but with that said, there are about 3 or 4 witty lines that did make me chuckle. Overall, Club Dread is a pretty typical cheesy slasher flick that doesn't break any new grounds, and it has a few jokes that work, but the others just fail badly. Personally, I think that the movie's biggest problem is that it can't really decide what type of comedic horror film it wants to be. There are several moments where it tries to creep you out with cliched musical sequences and movements, all while poking fun at various horror cliches in the way that this movie Scream did. However, all the way off the hook gross-out humor that I mentioned earlier suggests that the movie is trying to be more of a scary movie-style film. So overall, the movie just seems confused on what type of humor it's trying to sell. It's not a very good movie, but to be fair, it's not trying to be a masterpiece. However, it is far from the worst movie I've ever seen, so I'll be generous with my score and give it a 5 out of 10. There was some talk of a sequel, not from Broken Lizard, who is the group that wrote this movie, but there was some talk of it on the internet. However, partly because this movie did horribly at the box office and was met with generally mixed reception, I don't think that will ever happen, and personally, I'm kind of glad.